we're criticizing Elliott Wolf for the Josh Uche trade, me more than you, to be fair. But how should the Patriots approach the deadline? Because there was a report by Mike Giardi of Boston Sports Journal tweeting, quote, Patriots have told teams they are open for business. League sources expect them to peel off another vet or two before the November 5th deadline. And he says expectations are that more guys will be moved. So that rings out to me vets.
Yep.
Like to say that veterans, not just players, another vet or two. Who do you think are like the top guys in this you would like to see the Patriots move? You think makes sense for the Patriots, could get a good return? Who do you think will be on the move from New England?
Well, I think when you think about the most logical, and I'll approach it from that standpoint, I think if I'm to rank from number 3 to number 1, I'm going to go number 3 most logical is Kendrick Bourne.
Okay.
And I think we've seen him surface in a number of rumors, really, dating back for seasons at this point. But just recently, just last week, I think it was NFL Media said that, they included him in a deal, or they included him in trade speculation, I guess.
Yeah.
At the time, it was reported that it would take a large deal to acquire Bourne, which, I think that makes sense. And I kind of see both sides of it, because I do think like the Patriots are in a spot right now where their receiver room is a dumpster fire. It's made up of delusional 3rd and 4th receivers who think they're 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
And I think Bourne has been over these last few weeks, like, the veteran, the older guy in the room, the veteran in the room. After Sunday we talked to him and he took the blame. He shouldered the blame for, his drops and not playing well. And those sorts of things, those sorts of comments haven't surfaced from the Patriots receiver room all that much.
Yeah.
Instead it's guys going to social media to take out their frustrations or
demand trades
or, publicly saying that they're demanding the ball. I mean, publicly throwing shade at the play callers and the coaching staff and saying that they're demanding the ball. And I think because of that, it makes a lot of sense for the Patriots to keep Bourne. But given where they're at, and, so far away from a playoff team and, everything like that, I think if you get something reasonable, if you get a 4th round pick, I think you have to trade Kendrick Bourne. If we get into like they're getting offered a 6th rounder, then I think it's a little bit more questionable, because I do think like he provides enough in the locker room where you don't just sell him for nothing. Mm-hmm. He's not one of those players. He's not a Tyquan Thornton in that case. But I think if you get a legitimate price back, and let's call it a 4th rounder, I think you gotta trade Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, top 150 pick. I don't think anyone's off the board.
Yeah,
this is a 3-4 win team at most.
Yeah,
and a lot of guys, especially the vets, as Mike Giardi points out by his report, that could be on the move. It's how many guys are going to be here in the window. What makes a Kendrick Bourne important to me is what you pointed out. He's the only adult in that room.
Yep.
Like, KJ Osborne was brought in to be that guy. You've been in the league, and he's been anything but that. He's the one demanding for trades. You have Kayshon Boutte, if he's not getting caught making dumb gambling bets, that he's literally saying, yeah, I did demand both deep balls in the last 2 games. Like, keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Check yourself. Be a professional. Be an adult in the room. Jalen Polk, best hands in the NFL. And he seems lost right now in his rookie season, which is fine. He's just a rookie. He's only played in 7 games. So we'll see what becomes of him. I'm not even going to get to Tyquan Thornton. I'm not even going to visit the other guys there. It's so void of talent that it is tough, because the other argument on the other side is who's Drake May throwing the ball to? Because Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper can only take you so far.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, there's Pop Douglas too, who's been reliable. But it's Pop Douglas and that's it. And teams, like we saw what the Jets did, completely took Pop Douglas out of the game plan. Mm-hmm. He had a quick screen to start the game. Great play design, great play call by Alex Van Pelt, and that was it. We saw that first down, and he was basically done the rest of the day. And we saw balls going off the chest of so many different receivers. Kendrick Bourne, Kayshon Boutte as well. Guys with inopportune, massive drops. Tyquan Thornton.
Yep.
But for the right price, you do trade Kendrick Bourne. And this is, again, where Elliott Wolf has to play the card of who's calling him. Yeah. How bad do you need a wide receiver?
Call Houston.
Exactly. Call Houston. Kendrick Bourne, Bobby Slowick, little reunion there. Why not? You're familiar with that system. Call San Francisco.
San Fran, yep.
Ayuk's down. Debo's been banged up. Kyle, you know what you get with KB, man. Great professional, adult in the room, good leader. What do you want from him? And that's what I'd want to see from Elliott Wolf.
Yep.
My 3, and I'm going not on the veteran side, but guys that clearly like this front office doesn't care for. And I'm thinking of guys from the past regime. So my 3 of a guy that needs to be traded is Tyquan Thornton. Now, you're going to get a 7th round pick. To me, that's fine. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But he's been a nothing. And that was the 50th overall pick, which cannot be forgotten by Bill Belichick. Because Matt Patricia, when he was given the keys to the offense, watched Baylor tape, and he watched a guy that runs a straight line on the track, said, yeah, I want that. I understand he said all those records at Baylor. Baylor and the NFL are not the same level. And he never amounted to anything. His contract won't hurt you. You only save money. You don't owe him any guaranteed money. He's not part of the future. When he's been on the field, he's had drops. When he's off the field, you don't notice it. He's literally just doing cardio out there. You wouldn't get a massive return, but you get some return. Because as we've seen, get a 2026 6th round pick because you value that. And again, what market do you say? If Josh Uche is a 2026 6th round pick, what is Tyquan Thornton, a future 7th? Like nothing at that. But someone that doesn't do anything for you, and he just hasn't had that impact where a Keyshawn Boutte, he needs more snaps. A Jalen Polk, he needs more snaps than Thornton is just taken away. When a Jalen Polk gets back, be damned all his drops. He needs to play football and get out of his own head. He needs more snaps than a Tyquan Thornton. So Thornton's like my 3rd guy on this list. Who else do you have on guys you'd like to see moved?
So I'm going to go with Jonathan Jones as the 2nd of the 3.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jonathan Jones is very well known in New England. You know, veteran corner. He's turned into maybe the leader on the defense, given all their injuries. We saw, the Patriots kind of posted a post-game celebratory locker room video the other day, and it was Jonathan Jones that was breaking them down. So, he's a really good piece. He's a really good piece for this defense, and he would be a really good piece for another defense. 31 years old, final year of the contract. And it's just, there's a chance that he signs elsewhere next year because he's not, this is not a playoff caliber team. And if he wants to go somewhere and land somewhere that it will win, it's not in New England. So
yeah,
I just think you talked earlier about the key positions and the premier positions in the league, right? I mean, a corner like him, a veteran corner, versatile corner. I mean, he was playing safety the other day. So we've seen so much from him. I just really think that he could be a key piece for someone. And I think, and maybe even more than Bourne, I think you might be able to get a decent return. I think a 4th rounder for Jonathan Jones isn't out of the question. And I'll say the same thing. I mean, if you get a 6th rounder, if you're getting offered a 6th rounder, like I just mentioned for Bourne, then maybe I don't trade Jonathan Jones. But I don't think that. I think he would demand a higher price.
Yeah.
And because of that, and because of you need picks, you need to start building towards the future. And he's 31. He's gone at the end in March. I think he would make a lot of sense as someone to trade.
Jonathan Jones is tough because Gerard Mayo is still trying to establish a culture.
Yeah.
And you said on what the leader he is. Now, given in a game where you don't have Kyle Duggar, he was injured. You don't have Jabril Peppers, as he's still on the commissioner exempt list. And Jonathan Jones literally made the move from corner to safety, middle of the game.
Yep.
And did a terrific job at it because you don't notice any errors by him. But nonetheless, the leader that he is, take away that Jets win. The Jaguars loss. When Gerard Mayo comes out and calls the team soft, reports came out like, yeah, Jonathan Jones addressed the team. He spoke to us. He called us out. That's what's tough. Again, both sides of my neck, though. The right price, his Patriots team is so bad. They have to rebuild for the future. I can't write anyone off. But Jonathan Jones is on a do not trade list for me. You need a culture. You need leaders. You need to establish something. You're still trying to figure yourself out on defense, which has been just as much of a mess as the offense has been. So Jonathan Jones, I can't be seeing moved, but I understand the argument you make. My 2 spot is an interesting one. Again, I go to draft picks of past regimes. City So. What's the market for an interior offensive lineman that coming back was a starter in training camp, got injured before the season started, finally played, and after one start you bench him, but has played in a spot reserve at the left guard position. Now, what are you going to get from him? 6th round pick? 5th round pick? Maybe. It's, again, what teams need him and what teams are sniffing the playoffs. But look at the Los Angeles Rams. They're 3-4. They're in last place in their division. The first place team is 3 of them. They're all 4-4. And I don't know how much longer the Rams are going to try Logan Bruss, Jonah Jackson, Justin Diedick, all at left guard, who have all been atrocious this season. When they get Cooper Kupp back, they have Puka Nacua back. Matt Stafford can still play. He just needs to be protected. Kyron Williams and Blake Corum can still run the ball. Like, how does that all happen? You have all this going, and your offensive line's been absolutely putrid. Jared Verse on defense is keeping you in. To me, it's a deep cut. But as we've seen, Antonio Mafi, no longer on the team after a failed experiment at center. Jake Andrews has been injured. Cole Strange has been injured. But with City So, this team from the past regime, and Elliot Wolf's been in New England for 5 years. Bill Belichick still decided to use a top 120 pick on City So out of Eastern Michigan. He was a good guard for them last year. Good run blocker. Okay in pass blocking. Not phenomenal, but better what the Rams are cooking with. There are suitors out there. You see what price you could get for him. City So, to me, is a guy that makes sense to be moved because once you bench him, you're showing what you think of him, and he's better off on another team. Cost control contract, which would be huge for the Rams to get him in there as they still are in the playoff picture.
I could see that. I also could see a team hanging up on you when you call and offer City So or Tyquan Thornton. So, and just given the amount of injuries that the Patriots offensive line has been better. I think we would agree with that. Better over the last 2 weeks, whatever it is, maybe 3 weeks. But given the amount of injuries that they have,
they need the depth.
I just can't see them parting ways with a guard that maybe he's a backup guard. But for this team, I mean, he very well could be thrust into the starting lineup at some point. I mean, would you be surprised if week 12 comes and City So is starting for you at guard? Like,
I wouldn't be surprised week 9 if he's starting.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's kind of where the Patriots are in terms of their offensive line and their lack of depth on the offensive line. So I just can't see them taking pieces off that for, these late round, 6th round, probably closer to a 7th round pick.
Who else do you see that the Patriots can make a move and trade?
So I think the one that sticks out for me, and this is maybe the player that I want traded the most, I think is probably fair too. I want KJ Osborne out of here. I think, you brought him in and it was like, all right, good. Like you have a veteran in the room. I mean, veteran, he's like 27, but anyway, you have a veteran in the room with a very young group. He'll show them the way. He'll be this leader. And not only has he failed to produce, I mean, he's done next to nothing for them at this point. 7 receptions, 57 yards. He had that, he had 1 touchdown and then he, motions call me when he's celebrating the touchdown. So it's just not only has he failed to produce on the field, but he's caused like these distractions for a team that is trying to build a culture. And he's really one of the biggest distractions at this point. I mean, after the Jaguars game, he was the one that broadcast, I guess, his unhappiness with that screenshot, essentially saying, I don't want to be in New England anymore. Then he was asked about it a few days later by reporters, and he really didn't hide the fact that he doesn't want to be here. It's very clear he's not happy. He's not happy with his role. And I understand that to some extent. He's seen much less snaps over the last, he was starting the first few weeks of the season, and now he played like 9 snaps the other day. Played 13% of the snaps last week. So his role is not there, but I can't see a player of KJ Osborne's ilk is not worth these headaches, I guess, in my mind, is probably the way I think about it the most. And he might not get you much either. Maybe a 5th round pick, probably a 6th round pick. So it's not even so much for the capital that's coming back to you. It's just, let's just get him out of here. Yeah.
He's the ultimate addition by subtraction piece on this roster.
And he's another one. I mean, maybe call Houston, call San Fran, call teams that need.
Call Kansas City.
They
still need a Rashee Rice replacement. It's the same exact type of player. Not as explosive, not as fast, not as reliable as Rashee Rice. But as they've shown in Kansas City, they don't care if you somehow forget that you're a football player like Kadarius Toney. Like, they don't care about what you do off the field. If you're Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman, go to KC. They'll find a way to win with you. And again, that's a team that needs it. Like, they added the DeAndre Hopkins, but he's a different type of receiver. He's more short to intermediate at this point in his career, more boundary, more outside than inside of a KJ Osborne. I'm with you. I think Osborne needs to be traded. If you get a 7th round pick or 6th round pick for him, great. If you get a seventh, fine. A future seventh, I don't care at this point because it is someone you brought in and signed. And it didn't make a lot of sense, but you go, you know what? They need vets. They'll take anyone that's a pass catcher that can come here. He needs to be a leader in the room. He's been anything but that.